Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the latest LAAGCast. It is June 14th, 2018, and we are your hosts. I am Max, and with me as always are Will.
Hi.
And Sam.
Hi, I'm Sam.
I just want to warn everybody that this is going to be a deluxe size episode. We've got a ton of content due to E3 being this past week.
Oof, what an E3.
Like 40 comics came out this week that we're going to review. Sam and I actually went to the movies, so it's a jam-packed episode. I want to let everybody know that we do always put the time codes in the description, so if you want to skip to one particular point because you're not interested in hearing about all the E3 stuff or you've heard too much about it, you can just skip to the good stuff.
Just click on it.
Yeah, so we'll start as always with our outrageous thing of the week, which was this an E3 announcement? This was related to E3.
Oh yeah, because basically at E3 they announced that very popular game Fortnite was coming to the Switch.
Right.
And basically Sony has this bug up their butt about crossplay, and they decided that any Fortnite account that has played on the PlayStation would not work on the Switch.
With your Epic Games account.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
And since this is a game where the players who are really into it buy a lot of stuff, like a lot, and it's all linked to the account, essentially what they're doing is if you want to play on your Switch, you can't use all your nice stuff that you paid for.
What they're doing is they're shooting the port to the Switch in the knees.
Yes. But it didn't do anything because in one day that port got 2 million downloads.
Oh, it's out already?
It's out and 2 million downloads. So
wow.
It's doing fantastic.
Good on them. Good on them.
Yeah, exactly. Like Sony just keeps doing this. They don't let crossplay happen with anything. So it's a Sony problem. They won't even address it.
Right. They don't want to because they, I'm sure, have some sort of corporate mandate that says we want to be the exclusive system of people who buy systems. So, you know, because we need to be able to put out a PS Plus 1X Alpha every 2 years, so we need our player base to be dedicated to our product and our product alone. We can't have them spending their console money on any other consoles.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's crappy American business practices.
It's outrageous.
Right, because, I mean, when you have less inter-console connectivity than Nintendo, you are doing it wrong.
Like, Nintendo is starting to branch out more, and Sony is getting more resistant. It's like they swap in places.
Well, you know, this is the 21st century, and as we know, the branching out is the strategy that works for anything right now.
Let's just get right into E3 news.
Dive in.
Because I want to mention right now the fact that in the Super Smash Bros. Trailer, because they announced Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Yes.
2 characters, it was Mario and I don't remember the other, just get brutally murdered at the beginning of the trailer by Ripley, the new announced.
Mega Man.
It was Mega Man, yeah. Mega Man and Mario, both just definitely murdered.
Yeah, horribly killed.
By Ripley, the new character. And, like, Nintendo's never done that before. It was rather extreme for Nintendo.
I was watching that scene in the trailer, and it was almost like a scene from Alien.
Yes, exactly.
Like, I straight up thought that the Xenomorph was the latest addition to Smash Bros. For a couple of seconds.
No, I was feeling the same way. And then when they said Ripley, I'm like, who?
Yeah, exactly.
Who's Ripley?
The bad guy from the original Super Metroid?
No,
just regular.
Just Metroid.
Just Metroid.
Not Super Metroid.
Not Super.
Who I believe the villain of Super Metroid is the Metroid.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, apparently in the first Metroid game on NES, the villain was a dragon named Ridley.
Was it Ridley?
Ridley.
I've been saying Ripley.
Oh, no, Ripley is the character from Alien.
Okay, Ridley.
Ridley the dragon is who was a villain in Brawl? A boss in Super Smash Bros. Brawl?
Yeah, and would come totally. Like flying in from the back of the stage and hit people super hard, like one of those annoying things.
Right. But it's such a generic dragon that you're just like, eh.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Now, has Starwolf been in a Smash Bros. Before, though?
Yes.
Was Starwolf in Brawl?
I don't think he was in... no. Yeah, was Brawl the last one?
No, the last one was...
Wii U?
It was just called Super Smash Bros. U, right? Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, I believe he was in Brawl.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Big on my face.
We never played him. That's what counts.
Well, they do seem to be making a lot of technical improvements to Smash Bros, though. That is really the more exciting thing about the new game versus any new characters. I mean, they do have all of the characters who've ever appeared in previous games, so that's cool by itself.
Right.
But the changes they're making to the blocking system, the dashing systems, and making it less viable to spam dashes to avoid hits, for example.
Oh, nice.
This could lead to a lot of good things, and I feel like people are going to have to adjust their styles a little bit, but I'm looking forward to it.
What I think is going to happen in the pro scene is that all the really, really good players will stay at the top, but there's like this, third tier that is essentially just going to get meshed in with a lot more players that were underneath that just suddenly got equalized because all of the cheap methods that the pros use are what are getting nerfed.
Right.
The things that get exploited.
Exactly. So,
should we talk about anything else for Smash Bros?
No, but I think we should finish up Nintendo since we just got one other thing. They also announced a brand new Super Mario Party.
Oh, cool. Switch. So, using the Joy-Cons to shake and waggle.
Exactly. And, I saw some comments where people were like, oh, this looks like the best Mario Party ever. But I was Googling around and I could find, no gameplay. So I think those people were just overhyped. I don't think we know that much yet. But at the same time, because it's for the Switch, it could be really good.
It could be really good, but at the end of the day, Mario Party's going to Mario Party. So it's going to be the same stuff. Because there's only so many things that you can do. Because the Joy-Cons aren't all that different from
the Wiimote?
Wiimotes, when it comes down to it. You can't do a lot more with them compared to the Wiimote, really. So, maybe some boxing things.
I mean, it'll probably be pretty good. I mean, it's a Nintendo. They're consistent.
All right, who's next, Will?
All right, let's go to the top and talk about some Ubisoft. So I got Sam to watch the trailer, or, basically a gameplay demo for Assassin's Creed.
Odyssey. And,
it looks pretty good. One thing I wasn't expecting was it to be such a boat game, but it is definitely a boat game.
They like their boats.
The boat is the home base.
Yes.
And,
oh, really?
Yeah, and you're just constantly using it when you go to the different areas, and I'm a big fan of that. And they're really going all out on making it a full RPG, even more than the last game, which they did some RPG elements. This one's just straight up all RPG in every way. You have stats that you can change. You have skill trees. You can choose between a male or a female character.
Now, I wanted to ask about that because they've always tried to present Assassin's Creed games as being you are this person in history who was definitely a person operating at this time in history.
Yes.
Are the male and female characters both in the game all the time when you're just choosing which one to control, or are they supposed to be the same person no matter what you play as? Because to me that breaks the Assassin's Creed thing a little bit.
They're very much different people, but I don't know how that actually affects the in-game.
I want to know if they're both in the game no matter who you choose, and you're just choosing a role.
That'd probably be preferable.
Yeah, if they did it that way, then a lot of the game would be different if you chose the other gender, which would increase replayability.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think it'd be cool, and it would be because they did that in Resident Evil 2.
Yeah,
where you could play the game as the dude or the chick, and they had different skills, and depending on which order you played the game in, the experience for the other character would be different.
That'd be pretty smart for them to do.
Yeah,
definitely. Moving on. Beyond Good and Evil 2 got a new cinematic trailer.
Is this actually going to come out? No gameplay yet, so...
Yeah, no gameplay. But, I mean, it looks real good because it's set in space and all the characters look pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
I liked the first one. It's a pretty good adventure game.
Yeah, it's in the tier of Jak and Daxter.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'd say.
So that might be good when it comes out.
If it actually comes out, we'll see. We've had cinematic trailers for Final Fantasy VII, too, so...
That's true. That is true. And then finally from Ubisoft, of course I, kind of just picked the things that I thought we'd be interested in talking about a bit, so there's definitely a lot more. But Skull and Bones, which is a new pirate game from Ubisoft.
Somebody finally got smart.
Exactly. Right? And honestly... The game looks like we haven't really seen anything.
No gameplay
at all.
I'm totally interested in this game.
Yeah, I would buy this game right now, even though I haven't seen any gameplay, just because it's Ubisoft and it's such a hype pirate game. That's what I want.
Good. It has a good aesthetic. The characters look like they're going to be interesting and entertaining once the actual game comes out. So we'll just have to wait and see what that gameplay is actually like.
It better be good. I mean, what they're showing us in the trailers is what we want. Like, they clearly get it.
Our standard for pirate games is going to be high.
Pretty high.
They've done it so well just as side content in other games that if they can't pull it off, that's going to be bad.
It's still such a rare thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need more games like this. Hopefully. All right. Moving on. Let's talk about some Sony.
Cool.
So up first we got Death Stranding, which had a long 8-minute interesting trailer.
So interesting. So this is the new Hideo Kojima game, his first since leaving Konami and the Metal Gear series behind.
Right.
Obviously, they've got big Hollywood actors doing the mocap for the characters in this game. But the thing that struck me the most when they actually started showing us gameplay was how much it looked just like a Metal Gear Solid game, like the way the character moved around.
The art style and all that.
The art style, but just the way that the guy looked walking and crouching down and running, like it all looked like it was going to play just like Metal Gear Solid 5. And they didn't really show us much, because anything exciting that happened was cinematic. The only thing that we saw gameplay-wise was your guy kind of just like struggling around with a package on his back.
4 minutes of struggling across different terrains, gathering more and more packages, followed by 4 minutes of sneaking next to creepy ghost monsters until at the end finally one of them grabs him and eats him or something.
Right, and the cinematics of all this creepiness, like this baby thing that's happening.
I was totally down for the baby thing. Like, it was weird, but it was so weird on just a next level.
Did you watch this trailer?
I did not watch this trailer. I wish I had watched this trailer, because this sounds fascinating.
There's like a baby in a person at one point. That's like it's like you see a baby's face and it zooms out and it's like the esophagus of a person, like the baby's in their stomach, but it's just like, hey!
Ugh.
And then there's another baby that's in like an orange, a clear fanny pack, like full of liquid that you're carrying around.
They're both like devil babies, because they got some weird like black eyeshadow thing going on behind, their eyes, and it's like they're being like the eyes are kind of sucked into their faces. It's weird.
If there's one thing we know about Hideo Kojima, it's that he is totally off the wall crazy pants. Like, the dude is not sane in the least. This dude sees things that nobody else sees in a way that just, like, he tries to get it out. And, like, the thing that we end up with once it gets filtered through designers and actual gameplay mechanics, and then the actual plot that he's layered on top of it is, like, 10th level science fiction writing, like, holy, like, there's no way to predict anything that can happen in a Kojima game, because literally anything can happen.
You see, that's why I'm kind of hyped for the game, but I'm also incredibly worried that what we saw is the game. It's like, it's not more than that.
Like, it might be just the most expensive indie game ever, where it's just like some story about your guy wandering through a wasteland, picking up packages, and having dramatic events rendered in movie scenes instead of you doing anything.
Yes, exactly.
Dear God, no. Because that last one he made, Metal Gear Solid 5, that's one of the most fun games to play in recent memory.
Fun to play.
So I really hope that they don't shoot themselves in the foot by making the game unbearable to play in this case.
Yeah, I really hope not. The trailer is interesting, to say the least.
It's worth a watch.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and Norman Reedus is in it.
And it's just so bizarre when he shows up. You're like, whoa, that is Norman Reedus.
Yeah, the facial animations are incredible.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Yeah, it's quite impressive.
Yeah. All right. Next from Sony, they went ahead and announced Nioh 2.
Which will not sell any copies, because it's going to come out around the same time as FromSoft's version of Nioh.
It'll sell a couple months later.
No, yeah, I'm sure that people will be excited for Nioh. There's a lot of people who enjoyed that more than any of the Souls games.
And did you beat Nioh?
I did beat the main campaign. Yes.
Okay. That's good.
Maybe I didn't beat the final boss. I think I did. I don't remember.
I feel like you did beat the game. I think you just didn't move on to the DLC content.
Right. You are exactly right. I didn't move on to any of the DLC content or post-game or anything.
Yeah.
I discovered that the New Game Plus is just like replaying the old missions. at a harder difficulty.
Yeah.
But like you can go and select whichever.
They do a lot of that reuse, which is kind of a downside of the game.
Yeah, it makes it weirdly a lot less replayable.
They might not do that for 2 because the first one did so well, because they might have been saving money, but they made a lot of money off that first one.
Yeah, I mean, if they can pull something off that doesn't have a lot of the weaknesses, like the overly similar monster designs and the dungeons looking too samey and all that, then
Exactly.
I hate that.
yeah.
It's a big problem in a lot of games. The only other thing I want to mention about Nioh 2 is that I did read that the game is going to have character customization, so it's obviously you're not going to be playing a set character in the story.
They probably got more complaints than anything else about the main guy in Nioh being a white dude.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But the last game from the Sony presentation is the one I'm the most excited about because Sony's Spider-Man game looks awesome. It looks like they learned all the right lessons from the Batman Arkham series and from Spider-Man 2 because the web slinging, I mean, they didn't show us him swinging around a city, but we got a real good sequence of him swinging around the outside of the raft with explosions happening everywhere and debris falling and chasing the Vulture through an area and running vertically up through a pipe and having to dodge out of the way of blasts coming down. And yeah, the combat system is very Arkham with, it looks like it's, because, in Arkham, you would have the spider sense, right?
You totally do have spider sense.
So you have spider sense, and it seems like it's the same sort of like bounce around between multiple people, and then you also have some special abilities you can do because he does the exact same Batman move where he jumps up in the air and shoots his webs all around him to take out a bunch of people in a circle.
Yeah, probably a bunch of ways where you finish off dudes by webbing them somewhere.
Definitely, it was showing that dudes were taken out if they were knocked out or webbed down fully.
Oh, can you imagine playing that on the PC where you got Spider-Man, but it's the first-person web shooter?
Don't go there.
Yeah.
We're getting exactly what we should.
No, this really does look like...
Literally, the only thing I don't like about it is the design of Spider-Man's suit in it with its giant white spider across the front. It's ugly. It's super ugly.
Agreed. I don't like...
red, white, and blue then?
Too much blue. Too much blue, too much white.
Too much blue.
I don't like when he's so blue. I feel like Spider-Man shouldn't be so blue.
But the blue's part of it. The problem is that the giant white spider takes away the best chunk of his red on his chest.
Well, that is fair. A little more red would really balance it a better.
Yeah. But like the voice actor sounds good, and all the 5 of classic villains, or 4 classic villains and Mr. Negative show up.
Hey, it's a Spider-Man game. If you can only run around in one spider costume, that is a colossal mistake.
Oh yeah,
that's a good point.
There's going to be a million. Oh god, and they're going to be all $199.
God damn it! They're going to make you buy a better costume.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah. Okay. There's a lot in this next section, although it's kind of my least favorite, just because it's Microsoft.
You crazy? All the best stuff is in this section.
Well, I did put other things in this section, of course. But anyway, so starting off, I got new DLC for Cuphead, which is going to introduce a new character, Miss Chalice, new weapons and new charms, and a new island with new bosses.
Well, that's
on
all
Xbox.
nice.
No, for everything. This is formatted by where they showed it at E3.
Oh, but I'm almost certain that I was reading that the new character, at least, was going to be Xbox exclusive.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I did not read that, but
it might be one of those Xbox exclusive at first dealies.
Now, here's the thing. Will a third player be able to join in as Miss Chalice along with Cuphead and Mugman, or will it remain a solely... 2-player.
This is a great question. I do not know the answer to it.
Yeah, because if it made it 3-player available, that actually makes things far more exciting.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to the new bosses. I think that'll be real good. And when I was reading the article about the new bosses, they definitely did mention PC, so I know that at least that content is not Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, I didn't see anything as being exclusive besides the character.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
We got a Cyberpunk 2077 cinematic.
Project, yes.
Yeah.
So the Witcher people have moved on now. This is their new thing. It's going to be a Cyberpunk game.
Oh, well, that could be amazing.
Yeah, the cinematic trailer looks, pretty good overall. I'd say the only thing is that, they kind of paint it like we might be getting something GTA-esque, but with more, advanced technology and more sci-fi of a town.
Every Witcher game has moved to be slightly more open world than the one before it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they want to flex their chops and give you a bigger map to play on.
So I think if you want, I think it's going to be like a GTA game, but with way better combat, and story, of course. But that kind of city-based, go around and do stuff in that kind of a way.
Oh God! I just imagine if they make the main character look exactly like Geralt and have the same voice actor. He's just a hard drinking noir PI named Gerald or something.
Oh man, I would love that.
That would be hilarious.
Gerald Rivera.
That would be excellent,
right? Spectacular.
Yeah, I did read an interesting fact. So the creator of Cyberpunk, who is behind this game. He went to a lot of studios to try and find a studio to make the game, and pretty much everybody offered him a contract, and he turned 17 studios down before finally signing with CD Projekt Red.
Because they're willing to do the story, right? They're
creating a vision from a real director, which is something I don't think we get enough in the West, so I'm real happy to see that, it's going to be the game true to itself.
Right. Yep, I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So that's 5 out of 5 so far on that list. Move on.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
I didn't know this was being made.
To Ori and the Blind Forest. Yeah, it's been announced.
It looks amazing. The only bit I didn't see the trailer itself. I only watched the bit of the clips that were in Donkey's E3 roundup video.
Yeah.
And I have to agree with his assessment, which was like, oh my god. That's right. It looks amazing. It looks so smooth. The graphics look like they've gotten a huge upgrade. That's gonna be a day one buy for me.
Yeah, the first one is one of the few. Every now and then, there's a game that I buy, even though I know I'm not going to play it for a little while, just because I know I'm going to play it eventually. And Ori is one of those games. I bought it on sale one time, and it's in my Steam library waiting to be played.
Yeah, it's going to scratch the itch that those other 2D platformers you got recently that you didn't like as much.
Well,
didn't.
Definitely. Next up, we got the big one, Max. Would you like to do the honors?
Yes. So, finally, FromSoft announced their new game that Miyazaki had said would be the one that would be pleasing to Dark Souls fans. Because he said they're working on 3 things, and one of them will fit into the predictions and wants of the Dark Souls fan base. And it is Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. It looks like Bloodborne, except you have some sort of super complex tech arm with multiple abilities and a grappling hook that adds a level of verticality to the movement in these games. That it's so genius. It's such a simple change that represents such a fundamental upgrade on all the things they've built before in the way that they always seem to manage to do with their new IPs.
Yeah.
Because, Dark Souls had that shield-based combat down real good.
Yep.
And then they kind of repeated that for the next couple of Dark Souls games. But then Bloodborne comes out, and they lean so hard into the parrying aspect that basically forces you to learn a new skill.
Which is great.
Right. And so now they've given you this grappling hook that looks like it'll be able to grapple onto things or people.
Yep.
If you got a hook shot, that also looks like it has a gun and a shield that can unwind like a fan. And some sort of fire spark effect. It looks like all your abilities are going to be into your weird wooden mechanical arm.
So I'm really hyped for the grappling hook, but for the weirdest reason. Because the way the speedrunners broke Dark Souls 2 in order to beat it so fast is hilarious. And I can only imagine the ways they're going to be able to break this FromSoft game with a grappling hook. It's probably going to be a lot of fun to mess around with the grappling hook and just try things. Even if you're not trying to speedrun, just see if you can, get into that corner and shove yourself through the wall.
Now, the one downside, in my opinion, some players will see this as an upside, is that there's no longer going to be any kind of multiplayer component, it looks like.
Very unfortunate. I read that too.
From Software's multiplayer is the only kind of multiplayer I like online. So I am sad.
Yeah.
Right, that is too bad.
I literally am a solo gamer. You know this of me.
Yep.
I don't like MMOs. I tolerated PUBG for a little while because that was fun gameplay.
Yeah.
But my heart couldn't take it after a little while.
Well, that was the most stress-inducing game of all time.
Right. But Souls give one-on-one duels or getting out of like being ambushed by 2 or 3 people. Like there's just a particular beauty to that kind of online multiplayer, which it felt like you were just dipping your toe in. You weren't out there with all those crazies. It was just 1 or 2 at a time.
Right. Max, I think you really do like just arena games. It's just all the other online arena games you have to actually start playing with no knowledge, and that just makes it a really bad experience off the bat.
That's very true. Yeah, in Souls you can kind of like play a lot before you have to do any sort of online if you want to.
Exactly.
So you can really get good at it first.
Yeah. And there's also a lot of like extra things that are purely Souls mechanics that, you don't get anywhere else.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they can deliver them.
Exactly.
And so that's 2 more 5 out of 5s on this section of the list. And the last one we'll see, because not enough about the gameplay has been revealed, in my opinion, unless everything we were seeing was gameplay.
I feel like we were watching a lot of gameplay, actually.
New game Sable. The notable thing about it being that it entirely looks like it is done in the art style of legendary comic book artist Mobius, who drew such comic classics as The Inkle and The World of Edina. And other amazing Silver Surfer Parable with Stan Lee, just one of the most famous and renowned French artists of all time. And the game looks exactly like his art. It is insane.
It looks excellent. It's almost like someone decided to make like a Journey-esque game, but put more content into it.
Right, and they've got a little character with furry horns that looks like a character from like an Ico or one of those games from that developer.
Yep.
Nice.
So, that's, I can't imagine it'll be a $60 game, so I'll probably be picking that one up, too.
Yeah. Well, that was a good batch of games. So, skipping Nintendo, on to Square Enix, which I did not really watch anything, because I thought that they had the worst presentation.
Hey, Kingdom Hearts 3 looks like it won't be that much fun.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not interested.
Lots of recent fully CG Disney movies are being represented now. Like you're going to Frozen and not even CG, but it looks like it's Pirates of the Caribbean for one part with like weirdly realistic characters.
Oh, wow.
They do Monsters Inc., which could be a lot of fun.
Do they go to Star Wars too?
I don't see Star Wars. They go to Toy
Marvel
Story
World.
No.
God, what if they do Star Wars because it's the only way they'll sell the game?
That would be really cool. That's the DLC. That's the 50% of the retail price of the game.
Yeah, you're right.
Fight Darth Vader and Sephiroth at the same time.
It would be pretty funny to see you and Goofy and Donald all decked out as like it would be. You would be a Jedi and Goofy would be a fucking like a Han Solo, a smuggler, and Donald would be a stormtrooper or one of those regular rebel outfits.
Two stormtroopers escorting Goofy.
Two stormtroopers escorting Goofy as a Wookiee. That could work pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I didn't see anything else from Squeenix.
Yeah, so we'll move on to amazing section. Bethesda.
Second best section.
Second best, yeah, probably right.
Best section.
Fallout 76.
So I am getting less hype than everything I hear, actually.
So this takes place in 1776, well before the advent of nuclear technology. Did I watch the wrong trailer?
You watched the founding of America.
Oh, whoops.
But yeah, Fallout 76.
A building game where
it really looks like it's just going to be a building game with a lot of online components to make it so that your stuff interacts with other people's stuff.
Like up to 4 other people?
No,
yeah, exactly.
Maybe, but also microtransactions.
Yeah.
Oh, we know that's happening?
That's what I heard.
Yeah, it's not looking good. It's really not looking good.
So it's going to be the Metal Gear Survive of Fallouts?
Oh, God.
Possibly, yes.
I don't know, like, a building game isn't quite a Metal Gear Survive, because they're still okay. It's just, they're not a great, game, usually.
Yeah. Really, we don't have enough information to make a judgment at this time.
It's true. It's true.
Now, I'm more excited for the next thing on the list.
Are you?
More than Fallout 76 at this time.
You're more excited for the fully functional Elder Scrolls game for mobile than you are for Fallout 76.
No, I didn't say I was going to play it, but it looks awesome.
Did you watch the little trailer that they showed for Elder Scrolls Blades?
I did, yeah, I watched it. Didn't seem that cool.
It's just a literal Elder Scrolls that you play on your phone.
Yeah,
They did it. They made it work.
That's gonna suck.
They say that it has all of the functions of a normal Elder Scrolls game.
That's gonna suck. Elder Scrolls looks good on a big screen.
I don't know, man.
Grand vistas.
I don't know, man. I can't wait to see how this turns out.
Yeah, but if it's just like a phone dungeon crawler, then it could be enjoyable. You're looting and killing.
With limited character building, or what do you mean, just a dungeon crawler?
No, it's
still
gonna have
full
everything.
RPG.
It's going to have everything.
Multiple
You're going
builds?
to be going to towns, talking to everybody, gathering food, shopping, selling, smithing,
Everything.
horseback riding. So yeah, I don't see it having all that.
This is a Peter Molyneux style fable they're trying to sell us.
I can't wait to see what it is.
We'll
man.
see.
I mean, they made Skyrim work on the Switch.
Did they? I've never seen it in action myself.
I saw it in action. That's pretty good.
I believe it when I see it.
Anyway, we have more Elder Scrolls news.
Sort of.
Elder Scrolls 6 was confirmed in a 36-second video.
Yes. Luckily, everybody who thought there was a chance that there might never be another Elder Scrolls can know there will be a 6.
Well, I think it's like, don't worry, Elder Scrolls isn't moving to only online and phone games.
Right, exactly.
We are giving you a real one.
We're probably 3 years away from it, I would guess.
You're probably right, because we're almost certainly going to get that 2020 or 2021 next-gen console.
Right.
And that's what they're going to release it for.
Yeah.
Right.
Almost certainly.
Yep.
That's a long way away, but I'm glad they're at least making it.
This podcast will be doing so well by that time that we'll have all the new consoles, so do not worry.
Yeah,
We'll
exactly.
be able to make or break that game with our review.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can't wait to walk through the walls on that one.
We're going to have a quote on the box.
Oh, yeah. Love media. This game sucks. Oh, I mean, this game's great.
Yes. They'll just print that this game sucks without the rest.
Humor will have really changed by that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything moves so fast.
Exactly.
All right. We got a little more Rage 2.
Rage 2. Yeah, it's like Mad Max, but a little more sci-fi.
Yeah, I don't feel like we got anything
Yeah,
new.
more sci-fi.
They're just continuing to show that this is a thing that is coming, and they're definitely releasing it in spring 2019.
Yep.
All right.
Driving,
Sci-fi.
shooting. Just, you know what?
Driving and sushi.
I know you've announced spring 2019, but if you need a little more time to get it right, don't repeat the mistakes of Rage 1. Fix the bugs first, then put it out. It will be better in the end.
That's true. Moving on, they announced a new IP, Starfield, which we don't really know that much about, but it's set in space.
Skyrim in space. You've got a little ship. You're flying around. There's different planets. They have different things on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get lasers, they disintegrate.
Yep.
And you got Fat Mans, they blow stuff up. Oh, wait, that's Fallout.
Hey,
But, yes,
Yeah.
space. I love space. I want open space world.
you have a little ship that's like it controls like a descent ship.
Yep.
That just rolls around any direction, and you can land on planets and do things on planets and run around the whole planet for a while if you want.
No.
Even go to space colonies, get out of your
You know,
ship, walk around,
I
go
wonder.
through dungeons.
All of this is confirmed, by the way.
Did they? I wonder if they're just making what everybody wanted from No Man's Sky. They're like, this is an opportunity.
That would be fantastic. You know what would be a really smart thing for them to do, and they might actually be doing it. So they announced this game. Who knows when it's coming? All they haven't even come up with anything yet. They just came up with the title and the logo, and they put it out, and then they just wait for the speculation to roll in. They read Reddit for a couple of weeks. They pick out all the best ideas, and they say, yes, here it is. We secretly crowdsource this game from everybody. It will make all of them happy. We won't get sued for ripping people off because they'll just be like, oh, I was right in my prediction.
Yeah. You don't realize it, but this is how Bethesda makes all their games.
Oh, is that the case? I thought that there was...
It could be. I mean, they always announce really early.
Right, but it couldn't be a Bethesda news dump without the next piece of news.
Okay, so Bethesda had this joke skit during the show where they basically they were like, well, what system should I play Skyrim on? Alexa, play Skyrim. And then, of course, he played Skyrim on his, Alexa. It was a big joke. But actually, Bethesda went and they actually released Skyrim for whatever your talking device is.
Okay,
and
device or Alexa.
yeah, exactly. And it's called Skyrim Very Special Edition.
What happens on it? Because there's no screen.
Correct. It is a classic Dungeon Master, and you are playing its game.
Hot damn!
Right? That's genius.
It really is. It prompts you. It's like, you're walking down the beach and suddenly a mud crab comes charging at you, and what do you want to do? And you're like, shout!
Smash mud crab. Loot mud crab.
Wow, it's too bad I will never buy one of those devices.
I know.
Yeah.
I can't believe that they made this.
Filthy spies. This is the perfect way to get into all the nerds' rooms.
True.
Right?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Bethesda works for them.
Oh, Jesus. All right, moving on.
Hope not.
Okay, and last and definitely least is EA.
Worse than Squeenix?
Yes. Well, okay, no, they get credit for the second piece, but let's start with the first.
Anthem.
So, Anthem got a new trailer. They showed absolutely nothing new after, I think, like a year since the last trailer. So, I don't think Anthem is going very well.
Anthem. Moving on.
Moving on. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was announced.
It's really called Jedi Fallen Order, not Fallen Jedi Order.
That is the name that I read.
Okay.
I copied and pasted it.
Okay, got it.
But anyway, it's from Respawn Entertainment, the creators of Titanfall and Titanfall 2.
Okay.
And all we really know is that it's a Star Wars game set in a darker galaxy, which I think just means that it's going to have a darker plot.
So it's from the makers of Titanfall, so you're just driving ATSTs and AT-ATs around trying to shoot each other?
Yes!
Realistic AT-AT speed.
I would play that game. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. We do know one thing.
What do we know?
We know that supposedly this is from a time when Jedis were being ruthlessly hunted and killed. So you're likely actually probably to be a Jedi on the run.
So it's post-Clone Wars, pre-Rogue One.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, still not the damn Obi-Wan Kenobi content we're all thirsting for. But
I know. And then that concludes our E3 content. Yeah, that was quite a load.
Well, speaking of video games, I didn't play any video games this week. Did you guys play any video games this week?
We played a video game.
Yeah, we did some. I did a lot of seafaring, and me and Sam did some of it together.
Okay.
We played a game called Salt. And Salt is a definitely incomplete game that the developers have given up on.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And despite that, we are continuing to play quite a bit of Salt because it is a thoroughly enjoyable game. It is another sailing crafting game that me and Sam can play cooperatively.
Yep.
You go to, you kind of sail between islands, and you gather up the items on the islands. Sometimes you fight pirates.
Sometimes you meet NPCs that will buy and sell or give you quests.
See, this sounds better than Raft to me.
It's not quite as good as Raft.
It's a very different game, though.
Right. It is.
Yeah.
Raft is more of a plan it out and build your home as it flows down the river, whereas this is more map islands, because the game does have a mapping feature that you must use if you want to map where you've been.
It's amazing.
And it's real good.
Because it's almost impossible to not end up accidentally pulling a U-turn and going back to an island unless you take the time to just either A, go in one direction, or B, the better option, chart the islands that you visit. Because you build your map as you play. You can check your coordinates, and then you can create markers on specific coordinates so you know what is in specific places.
On your grid of map.
And Sam's a little better at charting than me. I forget a lot of the time. But his charts look pretty good, and
I'm very
it's actually pretty fun, to be honest.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
I was watching us play a little. It definitely looked like it'd be more my speed.
It definitely looks a little incomplete as well as it plays a little incomplete. And some of the bugs are hilarious. I love the fact that 20 times now I have gotten into my boat just to be launched 100 feet into the air. Or the one time when me and Sam together were launched into the air, and I think our boat was too.
I think we both tried to jump into the boat at the same time, and it launched all three of us up into the air, but then the boat went off, I don't know where. And we ended up, if you count each grid section as a mile, then we ended up
20 miles.
Yeah, 20 miles away from where we were. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Great bugs. It's like PUBG level bugs.
Yeah, exactly. Fun game.
Very fun game, and we're going to play more. But I did play one other pirate game, very much pirate. Sid Meier's Pirates.
Wow, I haven't played that in like half a decade at least.
You played it? I didn't know.
Way back, closer to when it first came out. Yeah, it's quite a few hours. It's in my Steam library.
Nice.
It so holds up. It is so enjoyable.
Yeah.
I ran into a couple bugs, and I didn't mind at all. And everything else just played very smoothly. All the functions were nice. I enjoyed that the game had so much to it. Like, I even got to the point where I was, buying goods for 5 gold at this part, and I could sell them for 10 gold at the other part, and it's like, hey, that's great that the game lets me even just do trading if I want to be a trader.
Yeah, any pirating or naval game should have at least that kind of system with the trading.
Yeah, you should be a lot, we'll see if Ubisoft does it with their pirate game, but wouldn't the best pirate game be the kind where you can choose, I can go after legit ships and pirate their shit and sell it for profit, or I can hunt down other pirates and take their stuff and then try to just be a trader,
or just go after a navy of a country you may not like in this game because you're role playing.
Exactly, and that's another great thing about pirates is that you pick your allegiance at the beginning, but you can attack any boat you want, and you can change your allegiance and change your flag at any time, and you choose the path you want to go down at any point in the game.
Yep.
And it really sucks to be Dutch.
Oh, there you are. I am Dutch, sir. All right.
Well, this has been quite the video game section, but how do you guys feel about a break?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, we're going to take a short break.
Be right back.
And welcome back to the LAAGCast. We've completed that marathon of video game news, so let's move on to some TV and movie stuff.
Fantastic.
We finally got a little bit of information about the Wonder Woman sequel. The title is going to be Wonder Woman 1984, because the movie will take place in 1984.
Understood.
The screenshot that they released to the public shows Chris Pine is back in the movie somehow.
Cool.
I guess. So the question becomes, do they find some way to save Steve Trevor, or are they going to pull a classic Wonder Woman TV show and have the same actor play the son or grandson of the original character, which I guess that's more interesting.
Yeah, I like when that happens.
But so much for Chris Pine not being in everything, huh?
All right.
Just a fun little tidbit. I saw in the news today that Jordan Peele is apparently campaigning to do a movie adaptation of the classic cartoon Gargoyles.
Which is hilarious.
Which, please let this happen. Please let this happen. Gargoyles is amazing. It's our friend Sam's favorite cartoon of all time.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, Keith David, I believe, was the voice of the main gargoyle on that show. It was quite good. And Jordan Peele's a smart guy, so I really feel like that could be cool.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember that cartoon. Very, very vaguely.
Yeah, it was cool. And speaking of cartoons, I guess Warner Brothers is going to be doing a new slate of classic-style Looney Tunes shorts that are going to all have a movie-level production to ape the style of the classic Looney Tunes shorts that were obviously designed originally to run in front of movies.
Right.
I don't feel good about it. Okay, so there's they can't make Looney Tunes like they used to, because if you go back and you watch it, there's just so much casual racism.
Well, yeah,
it's part of it.
But that's not intrinsic to all the funny jokes. I believe
right.
that it is possible, I think, to do a new Looney Tunes that would harken back to the classic style without pushing those buttons.
My problem is that they can't make it the same show. It's always going to feel very different no matter what they do. And Looney Tunes is it's so perfect as it is that I'm not happy about this news.
The old ones won't phase out of existence when the new ones come out.
That's true.
And I think that we've got to wait and see what they're going to do with it, because sometimes some of these reboots can work. If people learn the right lessons from the old things and aren't trying to serve some sort of weird agenda or anything, then I think it's possible that we could end up with some funny stuff.
Yeah.
The original Looney Tunes were designed to appeal to adults and children.
That's true.
I feel like that's the that kind of animation can have a big market in this day and age.
All fine points, but I just don't believe that it's going to be good.
Well, we'll see next year.
We will see.
Can't wait.
Moving on to stuff we watched. Will, you didn't watch nothing, did you?
No, I don't watch anything. What are you talking about?
Well, we watched the 8th episode of the 2nd season of Westworld, and boy howdy, wow, this goes up there as one of the best episodes in my opinion.
Yeah, really, and such a change to have an episode that's almost completely dedicated to a character that's relatively new, never had any speaking lines before.
But has been in the show for a while.
Right, that's why I don't say completely new.
Right.
He's been around, but no speaking. Well, barely any speaking.
Barely any speaking. But yeah, like as I have often asked for in previous episodes, we finally got our flesh out of the Ghost Nation through the eyes of our main warrior, Akacheta.
Yeah, Akacheta.
Akacheta. Who appears to be the first host to ever independently develop consciousness.
Seemingly so, when he saw the maze for the first time.
He saw the maze, and it caused him to realize that the world he was living in was not the world that it somehow unlocked previous memories, and some sort of combination of that and him dying so seldom compared to any other host led to him not being updated as often as other hosts, and so he, I guess, was better able to access the things that had happened to him in previous lives.
Right, and retain day-to-day memories of what's going on, seeing people die, come back to life, move around, repeat themselves, all kinds of stuff he must have seen.
Like, just the idea of looking at it from a pure sci-fi show perspective. Like, imagine if this was the first episode of something, it was just this weird, like, oh, things are, we have these weird gods that we believe in, and then, like, they're taking some of us away, but only one guy remembers. The others don't even remember if somebody's replaced by somebody else who's doing all the same things that the person used to do, but it's a completely different person.
Yeah, that is classic trope right there.
The actor doing the role was amazing. His little scene with Ford was spectacular.
Yeah, maybe one of the most revealing scenes so far.
Yeah, it really suggested that the speech that Ford gives at the end of the first season when he talks about, it's the subtext of the speech is that the hosts might be gaining sentience somehow. That at the time we thought he was talking about Dolores when he talked about what he had seen. It now seems that he may have actually been talking about our Ghost Nation warrior here.
Yeah, Akacheta.
So, I'm really excited to where they could go with this character and with the show going forward, because damn, just one of the best episodes. And it really looks like I may have been partially right about the Ghost Nation trying to save people in the park, because they're definitely rounding people up and keeping them safe.
Yeah, and Akacheta has basically taken all of his Ghost Nation dudes into the fold, and we got some real good scenes of that, of him scalping them on their orders
to give them
the map inside their skulls, which we know William eventually gets his hands on one of those.
And totally misinterprets.
Right,
it turns out that all of William's motivations have all been because of the mazes that Akacheta has been drawing, both in the skulls and on the ground outside of Maeve's house with her girl.
Right, but he gave up on that at the end of season 1. He realized that the maze was nothing to him.
Right, finally.
Yeah, but it seems like the next episode is going to be a hugely William-centric episode. I'm thinking that there is a possibility he may die.
Right. Of course, the other big revelation of the episode is it seems that Maeve can speak to hosts at a far further distance from where she is than we previously were led to believe, because I think that in that episode, only his lines in English were actually being spoken to Maeve's daughter. I think that whenever he was speaking in his native language, that was actually him having a mental conversation with Maeve and explaining everything to her. And that the thing at the end was them revealing that to us.
Right, and that's why she gave the line of his former wife.
Because she's connected to the mesh network, so she knows all of the storylines. Right.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Good stuff. Moving on from that, Sam and I both drove out to the middle of nowhere this last weekend and went to see Deadpool, finally, which was a good old time at the movies, let me tell you.
Yeah, very enjoyable film.
I'll just get the one thing I didn't like out of the way. Every time it went to his little visions of Vanessa, I always thought the movie ground to a halt.
Yeah.
It was weird.
It was weird. Why is this happening? Is it him dying and coming back to life? That seems to be what it implied. It's that's him dying.
and then coming back from his healing factor.
Right, and then his healing factor bringing him back.
I didn't think of it that way. That's very interesting. Yeah, that he would have those visions when he was in a death state.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was cool. The X-Mansion bits were pretty cool.
Yeah, very funny, especially seeing all the X-Men and them Beast quietly closing the door so that he didn't notice them.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a nice play on we don't have the budget to get the rest of the cast into this bit.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Cable was the Terminator,
Yes, he was.
as they even said in the movie. Although they called him John Connor for some reason, which to me can only be a reference to Terminator Genesis. And I can't decide if it's like weird or super appropriate that that's the Terminator movie that Wade would reference.
Yeah, it's a little bit strange. Yeah, I liked Cable's ability to fly his guns back to him from seemingly anywhere. It was a nice magic power he had.
Yeah, I want to know if that was technological or if that was the screen's one version of him using his telekinesis.
Right. You don't know. They leave it up to you.
Right. They show him kind of pawing at the edge of the metal parts of his body, but they don't say techno-organic virus or explain anything about why he has the metal arm.
Yeah.
So it's very much like it's there for fans who know to be like, okay, there it is, but like not waste any dialogue on confusing the normies.
Right.
And that's good.
And then another thing that I thought was real smart is I had no clue that Juggernaut was going to be in this movie and make a cameo. I didn't see that in any trailers. Totally the opposite of when X-Men 2 came out, and all the trailers were just full of Juggernaut.
3.
Right, 3. My bad. It's been a while since I've seen any of those movies.
Yeah.
But all the trailers were
Show
like,
Juggernaut.
the Juggernaut is here. All because of that internet video, I'm the Juggernaut. Beep.
Right. Freaking, Vinnie Jones. Yeah, such a terrible Juggernaut. Yeah, I mean, I would say it was more than a cameo. He was practically the final villain of this movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and we got that Juggernaut versus Colossus fight that everybody who watched
Classic.
the X-Men animated series has been hungering
classic.
for. So, yeah, it was fan servicey. We got X-Force for a minute.
We had X-Force for a minute, and it was spectacular, very funny.
Brad Pitt was in the movie.
That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Vanisher.
Just a second.
Yeah, you only see when he's dying because he's getting electrocuted that it was Brad Pitt because he's the Vanisher. He's been invisible the whole time.
Oh, that's funny.
Terry Crews as Bedlam was not really in it at all.
Yeah, we had Shatterstar, who said he was from Mojo World, so that's another thing. I can't believe that somebody said Mojo World in a big-budget Hollywood movie. So that's pretty freaking cool. Domino, though, from X-Force, her luck powers are
So good.
so cool. So luck on screen is one of the best things because movies are perfect for showing like how cool it would be to have good luck powers, like in a way that makes it seem like, oh yeah, that could happen, like, but like in a way that just reading about it in a book or seeing it in a comic it can't do.
It's true, it's true.
Just it looked fantastic. The ending with going back in time and undoing any problem that people may have had with Vanessa dying.
Yeah, I'm glad they put that after the credits so that you have an ending to the movie and then you have this this happy-go-lucky quest of, hey, we're gonna save everything.
Right. It's almost like it's saying just kidding at the end.
Exactly.
But yeah, they do that. They bring her back. They have Wade interact a little bit in X-Men Origins Wolverine. Where he goes back and he kills that version of Deadpool while he's facing off with Wolverine in the scene from that terrible, terrible movie. And then he goes back and he shoots Ryan Reynolds right after he gets the script for Green Lantern.
Oh, wow.
It's perfect.
Right, really, it's just so funny.
Cool.
So go see it, man. Like I don't know if I like it quite as much as the first one, because the first one I feel like is kind of relentless. Like you sit down and you watch, and it's over by the time you feel like you started watching it. Just boom, 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 boom. So effortlessly funny.
And this one did rely a little bit on callbacks to the original, like the whole baby legs scene.
The baby leg scene, which I want to say 4-year-old who was in the movie theater with us could not get enough of. Just thought it was delightful.
The funniest thing.
Yeah.
It was. It was something else.
It was a worthy successor to that scene. You don't mind them doing that callback because they really drove it to like the final possible conclusion in this case.
That's true. It's done.
All right, so let's move on then to the Star Trek character ranking section. We've got 3 more characters to rank on our master list this time.
Yeah.
All right.
As always, I have compiled 2 themed lists that I will have us vote on. I will have each of you vote, and then I will cast the tie-breaking vote if it's a tie. And the 2 lists that we may rank today are 3 Doctors or 3 Klingons.
Klingons.
It's going to be 3 Klingons, people. Those Doctors can't catch a break. Maybe next week.
Probably next week.
Maybe.
All right, so the first Klingon we're going to talk about is Worf's brother Kurn, played by Tony Todd.
Tony Todd. What a voice.
Yeah, really.
Voice. Yeah, they brought him back
Oh.
for some more Star Trek later.
Yay.
Yeah, he's Kurn. Kurn is great because Kurn is exactly halfway between Worf and a regular Klingon.
Yes, exactly. That's a
true.
great description.
He's not too jokey.
Right.
Like Worf.
Exactly. He's butthurt in the same way Worf is all the time.
Yeah, that's true. I consider him to be very enjoyable. All his episodes are pretty good.
Except for his final episode. His appearance,
Right.
It's Deep Space Nine, right?
It is Deep Space Nine.
When he wants to die and they come up with their weird mind wipe and go with a foster family. Like, it just feels weird to me.
It does just feel weird. And then, it only takes a little bit longer before Worf is accepted back into the Klingons and part of the House of Martok. I mean, Kurn could have been part of the House of Martok.
Just a couple more months, Kurn. Just wait a little bit and it would have been fine.
So unlucky.
But, good character and good episodes and well acted, so we can't put him too low. I don't know how interesting he is, though.
Not super.
That's true. He's more of a plot vehicle.
He is a
Worf.
plot vehicle. Yeah, it's very true. I think that I want to start right around Wesley Crusher for ranking Kurn.
I'm going to put him below Wesley Crusher. Maybe just right below Wesley Crusher.
Below Wesley Crusher is Liquidator Brunt.
Yeah, I can't.
He's better than Liquidator.
You think
Brunt.
he's better than Brunt?
I think he is better than Brunt.
I think that's going to be 2 against me. Because I think Brunt is better.
Not only do I think that he's not as good as Brunt, I like Barclay a little better. Who is immediately below Brunt.
That's awkward.
Yeah, that is weird. Maybe Barkley should be. Well, let's talk about it. I like Barkley better too.
I think that Brunt actually may be too high.
Yeah, he might be too
I'm going to go ahead and asterisk Brunt real quick.
That's fine.
For everybody. I will come back to the asterisks in a bonus episode later.
Yeah.
But, I do like Kurn more than B'Elanna Torres.
Yes. Come on, Sam. It's B'Elanna.
Yeah, okay, I agree.
All right. Kurn, son of Moog.
Yeah.
All right. Next on the Klingon list is going to be Chancellor Gowron.
Gowron. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy?
Doesn't
He's
really
a
matter.
leader.
All we really know about Gowron is that his eyes are nuts.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, his eyes are nuts.
He's a maniac.
He is truly a power-hungry Klingon asshole.
Yep.
But he is an honorable Klingon.
He'll always make the choice that
in
makes
most
him
cases.
the winner.
That's true. He is political. It's true. He is very politically aware.
Yep.
Yeah, he is a politician.
And he lets himself get drawn in, though, too. Like, remember in the 2-episode arc when Worf goes to the Klingons and when Gowron is being confirmed and, Gowron's getting too much into the, I'm going to go ahead and duel this guy one-on-one, even though there's a war happening.
Oh, yeah.
He's, kind of a dumbass once in a while.
And I mean, it led to his death in the end when he decides he wants to be leading all the battles that the Klingons have been winning without him.
Because he ain't a good tactician. He just isn't.
No. So it's kind of a small end for him.
He's an entertaining character.
He is.
He really is.
He is an entertaining character. But that said, I think he's going to be down around the same area that we were just talking about, which is suddenly becoming our Klingon area, depending on what you guys think. But,
better or worse than Kurn?
Well, let's start in the same place we just were. Is Gowron better or worse than Wesley Crusher?
I'm going to say he's worse.
All right.
I'm kind of split, so let's just go down and we'll see.
All right, so Barclay, though.
Worse than Barkley.
All right,
I can
Kurn.
A little worse than Kurn.
B'Elanna.
I put him above Kurn.
I put him a little B'Elanna.
Gabriel Lorca from the Mirror Universe.
He's better than Gabriel Lorca from the Mirror Universe. Wait. I was thinking of the other Gabriel Lorca, not from the Mirror Universe.
Right, no. Mirror Universe Gabriel Lorca is the one who appeared on screen.
I think I like Gowron a lot more than you two.
I'm going to put him above Lorca, below Torres, personally.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, let's do that.
Gowron at 37.
Sorry, Will.
Below Taurus. Oh. Blah.
It's funny how we have these Klingons all clumped up together.
It is.
Considering how high Worf is. But the last Klingon on the list, I think, is going to rank a little bit higher.
Oh, yeah.
It is General/Chancellor Martok.
Yay. Martok.
Second best Klingon in Star Trek, for sure.
Yeah. For sure.
Just always entertaining. Like he's the Klingon that you always would want to be. Like he's the Klingon that Worf would want to be.
Yeah.
And that says it all.
He's the most respectable Klingon, basically.
That's true. He's like the golden Klingon.
He's battle hardened. Like
Yeah.
and
scarred.
He's scarred, a strong tactician. He's been through hell and came out alive, which is really rare for any
With
Klingon.
a good attitude.
And
And I mean, he has that wife. And he still manages to stay laid back and laugh and have a good time.
because you'd have to. Martok is, and he gets rewarded for it at the end, which is nice.
Yeah, he does.
He gets put in charge of everything, which is it seems like it would. That's one of the
last
reasons.
things he wants.
Well, that said, though, that's probably one of the main reasons why I would want to see Star Trek that takes place in the future rather than the past, because
Right.
it's very interesting to think about what the Klingon Empire would become 10 years into the reign of Chancellor Martok.
So, well, you can bet their relationship with the Federation would be booming.
Well, considering that Worf is the ambassador to the is he the ambassador to the Federation from the Klingons?
Other way around. He's
Oh,
the
he's-
ambassador to the Klingons from the Federation.
Perfect.
Better.
Yeah. So, Martok I am going to put a little bit higher. I'm going to head up to the middle of the list and ask if we like him better than Archer.
Yes.
Yes.
Janeway.
Yes.
Yes.
Wayoon.
Yes.
All right, let's hop up a few
I like
places.
him better than Quark.
You like him better than
I
Quark?
don't like him better than Quark.
Okay, so we've got a ceiling and a floor.
All right.
Okay, so it's going to be somewhere between Wayoon and Quark. Let's go up from Wayoon. Dr. Phlox.
Dr. Phlox.
It's starting to get tight.
It is.
I do like Phlox a lot.
Phlox is really good, but I'm going to put him below Martok.
Geordi. I
You're
personally...
right. I have trouble with that one. You're right.
I can't rank him over Geordi, personally. And above Geordi, it's Tuvok, Chekhov, Stamets. I can't
He
put it
definitely doesn't rank above Tuvok.
Yeah,
For me,
so
let's put him below Geordi.
below Geordi. So coming in at number 22
Still pretty high.
is Martok. Yeah, the list is getting long. We're at 48 now, so being in the bottom half of that is pretty respectable.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so that was 3 more characters, and we will continue this list into the foreseeable future. But for now, guys, shall we take another quick break before we head into the comics?
Yes, the quite massive comic section.
Yeah, we need a break before we start this.
All right. We'll be right back.
And we're back with the Transformer of the Week, and you picked another good one this time. This is Six-Shot, who is one of the most deadly Decepticons ever. Six-Shot, as you may have guessed from his name, transforms into 6 things.
Not bad.
Like
Wow.
a spaceship, a panther, a all-terrain vehicle, a boat of some kind, a handgun that's sized for you to hold.
Oh, wow.
Six-Shot is,
Who uses him when he has a handgun? Like, who's the bigger one that grabs him?
he just flies around and shoots from the gun part.
My God.
Yeah, it's he's pretty deadly. In the IDW comics, he is reinforced with an entrium, so he's pretty much invincible to any standard damage, just like Overlord.
Nice.
Six-Shot. He's kind of the first big bad of the initial run of IDW Transformers, and is well deserving of the title.
Oh, so transversal.
Yes, indeed. So, moving on to a little bit of news, we'll shoot through this fast.
Yeah.
We got a big new announcement with a new Tom King and Clay Mann project, Heroes in Crisis, which is going to be some sort of crisis, I assume.
With heroes?
Yeah.
Oh.
Heroes. Although Harley Quinn is one of the biggest pictured characters on the front cover, so
Heroes.
in Crisis. for the trade collection release of Sean Murphy's Batman White Knight, they're going to be retroactively labeling it a Black Label release to go along with the other Black Label comic imprints that DC's about to put out. The only significant difference this will make is that in the sex scene between Harley and Joker in one issue, they're both going to be uncensored naked. So that's happening.
Naked Joker. I don't think anybody needs to see Naked Joker.
In weird news, GameStop has announced that they're going to be starting to sell Marvel and DC comics, which I predict that'll last about 6 months.
Yeah, they are panicking and they're not making the best decisions.
Yeah, once they realize they're going to end up with all this unsold content on the shelf that they can't move to save their lives, there's probably going to be a couple of weeks where you can roll down to GameStop and get like a big pack of comics for $1.
Ooh, that would be nice.
Once this tanks.
And a couple games because they'll be closing all of their stores.
Right. But in the biggest news is that Chief Creative Officer of DC Comics, Jeff Johns, has left the position of CCO to focus on writing the script for the Green Lantern Corps movie for Warner Brothers, and to start his own sub-imprint of DC, because DC's all sub-imprints now, which is going to be called Killing Zone. And I think he's doing a Shazam series and I can't remember the other series he's going to be doing. But we'll see. And Jim Lee is going to be taking over as Chief Creative Officer, which I think that he's kind of actually been the Chief Creative Officer for a while now. So I doubt that anything will change.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So that's it for the news. Moving on to comics. There's one comic that only I read, which was the 6th and final issue of S.H.I.E.L.D. by Jonathan Hickman and Dustin Weaver, which was pretty cool. I need to go back and reread the whole series from start to finish because
that's what you said last time.
I know. I think that the epicness of what's happening is being lost on me from having only read the recaps of this series and not the 6-issue series that came before this. There's a lot of cool stuff. The main character goes into the Infinity Machine and comes out as some sort of weird Star Child being with the ability to create both versions of the future world that Michelangelo and Isaac Newton are fighting for. So that Isaac Newton can have his destroyed barren wasteland Earth that he predicted would happen, and Michelangelo can have the regular Earth that we have. Dustin Weaver's art is next level. When he splits Newton into component pieces that are all spread out so they can have a conversation.
Yikes.
Yeah, that is really cool.
It's like I said, it's next level stuff. So yeah, it's a really cool, really far-reaching, wide-ranging super sci-fi Jonathan Hickman comic that I'm sure I'll like a lot better after I reread it, because most of the best comics are like that.
It certainly does look epic.
I feel like every time Hickman comes up, it's something good.
A smart guy, one of the smartest.
Yeah.
I really like him.
I should follow him on Twitter.
The next comic to talk about was, I think, the biggest surprise of the week, honestly, which was Hawkman 1 by Robert Venditti and Brian Hitch.
Surprising because it actually is really good.
It's quite good.
Interesting.
They appear to be leaning hard into the archaeology aspect of Hawkman while simultaneously doing everything that has actually happened to this character.
Right.
Which I always like. When they try to make every desperate, weird thing that's been part of a character's history all make sense in the greater context. And it looks like Hawkman's going to kind of be sort of like Indiana Jones, but with wings and a mace.
Yeah, he does some pretty cool things. He steals some treasure, fights a big monkey golem that turns out to also have wings.
Yep, because there was flying monkey pirates.
So, he says something along those lines.
Yeah.
Like he's getting away and he's like, haha, there's one place you can't follow me because you don't have, and then he turns around and he's like, wings?
Right.
As the monkey is like raising his wings. It's very good.
You get the good splash page of all the different variations of Hawkman, along with several that have never actually been seen in comics before, like the Kryptonian Hawkman, who's got a very Superman-style suit. You've got the Rocketeer Hawkman, who I particularly liked.
That's cool.
Real small, I don't know if you noticed down here, the Phoenix from Marvel Comics version of Hawkman.
Oh, okay.
Because that's just like that's the Phoenix, baby.
Yeah.
So that's, and the revelation being that he is at, not only has he been reincarnating across time, which has always been part of Hawkman's origin, but he's been reincarnating across space as well. And some giant winged robots are going to be killing Earth in the future, but he's not going to learn the truth about it until he dies 30 more times.
Yeah, that's a lot of times. He's going to have quite a journey ahead of him.
It's a good hook. So I think I will definitely be picking up Hawkman for now, and we'll be seeing if that stays readable.
Yeah, it seems like it'll be worth it.
Next up is issue 2 of Venom by Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman.
Yeah.
Tell me about Venom, Sam.
Well, the coolest thing about this is that Eddie Brock has had a hole punched in him from the previous episode, the releasing of this crazy symbiote god dragon creature. And so his symbiote seems to put him back together and replace the blood he's lost and
the ribs that were missing.
The ribs that were with itself.
Yeah. So he's definitely made significantly of symbiote at this point, I think, is what has just been confirmed.
Yeah, pretty cool. After that, he decides that this has all been a trick, so he goes back to kill the dude who sent him on the mission to find the symbiote soldiers in the first place.
Right, he confronts him.
Does he end up killing him?
No, he doesn't. They have a conversation, and the dude tells him his backstory about being in Vietnam and being in a situation where a sniper was killing his entire troop, and he tried to run out to draw the sniper's fire. And he took a bunch of bullets and ended up getting saved, but he was hanging on to life. So it turns out Nick Fury was in charge of the program that put... It doesn't seem like it's a regular symbiote, is what they're saying here, right? It seems like they've been carving chunks off of the symbiote god.
Yeah, it does seem like that.
And using that to infect people as Venom-like things. And the symbiote god has a very... animal-like face that I can't decide if I like or I think is funny.
Yeah. No, we don't really get that good a look at it.
Are you kidding me? We don't get that good a look at it? This 2-page splash is the clearest image you can possibly imagine of this giant, cat dragon.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that, sure, it's a big page, but all we get really is, this beast face and beast body.
Yeah, its whole body.
What it's all about.
Sam, it's always going to be twisting in a weird fashion.
And then... Go ahead.
I don't know, I just feel like later we're going to see exactly what it can do.
Yeah. How symbiote is it? Is it just a dragon that breathes fire, or does it have, tendrily or assimilation aspects or anything?
Right. Is it drawn by something? How bestial is it in the way it's acting? How smart is it? We don't know yet.
And how is it connected to the weird spiral-faced Venom demon that Eddie is turning into randomly?
Yeah.
And, of course, the final issue revelation is that they had mentioned earlier in the issue that Spider-Man had shown up to fight the dragon, but they hadn't shown him to us. And then we see on the final page that it's not Peter who's shown up to fight against the symbiote dragon, but Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man. So it's going to be interesting to see Eddie interacting with Miles, I think the first time.
Oh, really?
I don't remember if they interacted in, Venomverse or...
I never saw it.
That Venom Inc. thing, because Flash was in that, but not Miles.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think so. So cool.
Yeah.
I never really read any of Miles' Ultimate Spider-Man, so I don't know if he encountered symbiotes or Venom in that universe. They did have Venom and some symbiotes in that universe, but it was weird. Gwen Stacy was Carnage, and
yeah, that is weird.
But good comic. I'm definitely on board for more Venom.
Yeah, very enjoyable.
All right, next issue 9, Mr. Miracle by Tom King and Mitch Gerrits.
Indeed.
Whoa.
It's might be the best one yet, honestly, because I feel like we got a lot out of this comic, while a lot of the previous ones we did not get that much.
I mean, just the conversations between everybody on Apocalypse and all the characters on Apocalypse, and Light Ray getting mad and screaming about murdering everybody at the debate table, and the weirdness of Barda and Scott sharing a bottle of wine brewed from the blood of dead gods.
Oh, I know. Honestly, it was... Yeah, it was a good issue.
Don't remember from the first issue that this is not Barda. Barda's eyes changed color in the first issue. We know that this is all some sort of crazy trick
It's
being
weird
played on Scott. But The entire issue is just the debate to end hostilities between New Genesis and Apocalypse, and it's being conducted by the two sons of Darkseid, Calabac and Scott Free.
Yep.
And Scott Free was raised on Apocalypse, so he ain't taking no shit.
No, he is a great negotiator.
He's exactly the right person to negotiate against Calabac, who is a wild beast animal with a hilarious set of spectacles that he needs to read.
Yep.
But the twist of the issue, of course, is that after they've had this hard-fought negotiation and argued everything down, and it seems like it's going to be bad for everybody, Calabac comes back and says Darkseid has rejected your terms.
Yep.
Instead, he offers new terms. Full surrender of Apocalypse. Darkseid will even turn over the anti-life equation, which was never part of the negotiations in the first place. It would be a huge win. All Darkseid asks is that he be given Scot-free and Barda's son, Jacob, to be raised on Apocalypse. That's the true son of Darkseid.
Which is extreme.
And the black panels that until now have been single black with just Darkseid is...
Is there one in this issue?
There's one in this issue.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
We get a series on the last page of the black panels fading with the red eyes, and Darkseid smiles, as only Darkseid can smile, and it is chilling. Chilling.
So, some sort of weird fake reality to convince him to sell away his son?
Just to break his heart. That son doesn't exist if this whole reality is fake.
That's a great point.
Just to destroy his soul.
Ugh, that's rough.
This has got to be a battle for Scott-Free's soul.
You know, I'm just glad that they finally pulled some stuff together. Because it was really getting to that point
where it seemed random.
Where it was just random and they needed to do something.
The plot has kicked into gear. We have 3 issues left.
Yep. Real good.
And if they continue at this pace, and if they manage to stick the landing, then I'll hold this up to Vision as another Tom King masterpiece.
It's pretty good, pretty good.
Moving on to something that will never be considered a masterpiece by anybody. Issue 3, and probably our last issue of Immortal Men.
Yeah, if this was Mad Money, we would say, don't buy!
Don't buy! I'm trying to find the... credits page is on the last page. This one, it's Ryan Benjamin, James Tynion were art and writing on this, I read this yesterday. I could not tell you much of what happened.
I could tell you a little. The Joker, the Batman who laughs, shows up and has a nice little conversation.
What is with the red backgrounds?
Is there some sort of room where they're channeling special blood?
It seems like they're harvesting the blood of all the immortal men who have died recently, which I guess is like thousands or something.
It has to be, because like the first couple issues made it seem like immortal people were like extremely rare and very special. But she's standing in a tank that is so full of blood, and there's more blood being pumped in constantly.
Yeah, and it seems like she wants to she's talking like she wants to raise some kind of being and create it out of the blood.
Right.
But we don't get to see any of that.
Man, I can't remember.
We just move on to more of the bad guys trying to figure out what's up with this Caden Park, and the immortal men trying to save this Caden Park. I believe that's his name, right?
Yes,
Park?
yes.
Yeah. And why don't we know anything about why he's important? Why don't we know anything at issue 3 of Immortal Men? It's really... It just...
See, I feel like it's so similar to The Unexpected and like what each book was setting out to do. It's like, here's some characters you recognize, here's some new characters you don't know, we're introducing a new team, everything's gonna be cool. And like in one issue, Unexpected gave us so much value, so many cool things happen, so many memorable characters.
Right.
And then Immortal Men, I don't think I'm buying issue 4 of this one, guys.
No.
3, I think I'm tapping out.
That's fair.
Yeah, I agree. Completely. Don't need to read that.
Moving on to Image Comics' release of Oblivion Song by Robert Kirkman and Lorenzo De Felici.
Hey, it went somewhere.
The plot kicked in a little bit, finally.
Yeah, no, I feel like this is exactly what I have been waiting for to happen since, like, issue 2. So, essentially, they should have gotten here in issue 3.
Well, now, Image Comics are written to run for a long time, and they're written to be collected in trades of 5 issues.
Oh, really?
So, you can tell with this 4th issue that we finally kicked the pond to high gear so that the 5th issue can give us a big revelation, a tiny bit of a reset, and whatever is going to continue to follow the story for the next 3 issues.
Yeah, because basically what happened in this issue is it's a lot of little things to lead up to the fact that our guy is finally going to go and meet his brother who has been trapped on the other side, and he gets confirmation at the end that his brother is in fact alive, and he has a big nice smile on his face. And so you look forward to the next episode because it's going to be a big, nice reunion.
Right, exactly. The next issue is the conclusion.
Yes.
And we're going to move on. And I'm pretty entertained by this comic. I mean, it's not awesome, but there's cool ideas at play.
I think it can go somewhere. Really think it can go somewhere.
I think it's so written. It's like so clearly a TV script that's being done as a comic first, so that it can be adapted into a television show once they're 40 issues in.
You're right. They want a Walking Dead deal.
This is it's Robert Kirkman.
Yeah,
so of course that's
you're right.
He knows where the money is. And it's like it very much feels like watching a prestige television show where they're really doling out information slowly, and a nice mix of action scenes with personal character scenes, so that you get to know what everybody's motivations are in sort of a natural way. It's all very professionally executed.
All the monsters are unique.
But yeah, next issue we're going to have to decide if we want to continue, because I do think it will be the end of this first arc, and we'll see if we're interested enough to buy another arc.
Indeed.
I really like this artist, though.
Yeah, Lorenzo De Felici. It's clean. It's not too cartoony.
I like the coloring too.
Coloring is also really good.
Yeah, it's a very good looking book. I agree.
Yeah.
All
right. Speaking of good looking books, right?
Thor.
I picked up issue 1 of Thor by Jason Aaron, Mike Del Mundo. I've liked Mike Del Mundo in the past, which is one of the reasons why I picked up this book. But I gotta say, something about, I don't know if it's just the story he's being asked to draw here, or something weird has happened to him, because other than a few pages I do like, the art's weird.
The art is so weird, and I feel like it really detracts from what would otherwise be a pretty good story.
Thor doesn't quite look like Thor, really. Like
Not quite.
The super stylized drawing of him, combined with the beard, combined with the super stylized helmet.
Right, like it's supposed to be an ancient artist rendition of what Thor would look like if he were Odin.
Right.
In full color.
The hammer
In
thing
full color.
could be cool. Tell us about the hammer thing.
The hammer thing. So after he stops using his axe for some reason and breaks out his first hammer, to fight Juggernaut, in this case, who has been superpowered. He breaks his first hammer on Juggernaut. Immediately, right on his head. Just nothing doing, no damage. So he calls up to Asgard for more hammers. All of the more hammers.
And they send him, 50 hammers?
They send him 50 hammers, which is pretty cool as well.
But they all suck.
But none of them are Mjolnir. And you think this isn't going to do any good because he's just breaking hammer after hammer on Juggernaut. Gets a few good swings in.
That face.
Yeah, Juggernaut's face is just ridiculous.
But he literally breaks every hammer beating Juggernaut and only has one left.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but he does get a pretty good lightning storm off where he's channeling it and using all the hammers as lightning rods to just create a huge boom. And that is a great moment. If this has a great moment, it's that moment.
And I do feel like everything goes way downhill after the initial Juggernaut sequence, though.
Right.
They had to explain how he's going to run out of all hammers for a later issue.
And then Thor broke every hammer in the universe, and there were no more hammers.
Now, we should say that it seems that the overall plot of the series is that when Asgardia exploded, it rained Odin's weapon room around the galaxy, so Thor has to go and pick up all of the artifacts.
Right, as well as scattering the Bifrost to the winds in many pieces as well.
So they're trying to put the Bifrost back together, and there's a lot of comedy takes happening. Thor goes to fight Namor, which I gotta say, that would have been a cool fight to see.
Yeah.
But they don't show it to us.
Yeah.
We get
a little bit of relief.
Thor lives on a boat with one of his goats and Thori, the Hellhound.
The Hellhound, exactly. Which brings back the entertainment value for a little bit, a couple of pages.
I do enjoy Thori. It is in his character to be making what the comedy takes. So I like it a lot better when he's doing comedy takes than when Thor is doing comedy takes.
Yeah, well, this isn't a jokey Thor. You can tell he's grizzled and old.
So Loki shows up and things happen, and they're going to be cast out into... they go to Niflheim, because that's where Malekith is based in his quest to destroy the other realms that Asgard is cut off from because the Bifrost is down, and as soon as they show up in Niflheim, they run into Balder and Scourge. And Balder appears to have Hela's headpiece.
Yes, he does.
From the movie.
Specifically from the movie.
And they're riding like a four-wheeler with fangs. This is King of Hell. I wonder why Balder is now King of Hell. I didn't read the last Thor arc, so maybe that's explained?
Maybe we'll find out in the next issue. I can only hope that the art isn't like this.
Well, they could go ahead and use Christian Ward for all of the art as far as I'm concerned, because he pencils the backup story about old Thor.
Oh, well, that is really good.
It's penciled well, and the colors are wow, it looks so good. The fire looks hot.
Yeah, it's got this whole cosmic look to him.
And the big twist of that is that the universe is contracting, and Thor flies out to the edge of the universe to see if there's any way he can punch whatever is causing this entropy. And lo and behold, there's someone he can punch out there, because for some reason Wolverine is the Phoenix.
Right.
What?
It gets weird fast, but it's intriguing.
So we'll see. I'm kind of 50-50 on if we're going to be continuing after this first issue, because that art and plot is painful.
For me, it's that art. It's so hard to get past that art.
So next up is the Thing and Infamous Iron Man Annual, Marvel 2-in-1 by Chip Zdarsky, who is the normal writer of this series, but the pencils now are being handled by Declan Shalvey, who you remember from those first 6 Moon Knight issues when he was in the suit most of the time and all that.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
So this is a Doom issue.
This is kind of a bizarre comic.
It's they're on another alternate reality, and it turns out that it seems like they've been hopping realities, finding other Dooms and fighting them.
They kind of imply that, but I think that's just a misconception from that Doom, and this is literally right after what we saw in The Thing and the Human Torch.
Yeah, so they go to some other universe where a Doom has succeeded in killing that universe's Reed Richards and the rest of the Fantastic Four, it seems like.
Yeah.
Recently, and our Doom decides to have a fight with that Doom, and it looks like he's going to fucking trounce him. But then agrees to have an armors-off fight against the other Doom, and it's pretty cool because I think this is one of the few times they've ever chosen to depict a fully scarred Doom in a way where you could pretty much fully see his scarring. And he's scarred up. And
Ugly Doom versus Clean Doom.
Clean Doom, who we find out has had his mentality slightly altered by Reed Richards at the end of Civil War, besides fixing his face, because what he did was Reed Richards, with all the power of the Beyonder, wondered what Doom could be if he thought that Reed was dead.
Yep.
Right?
And it turns out that Doom can be a pretty good guy, and he had to be convinced very logically, but once he was convinced, he was very convinced.
So now Doom knows. Now Doom knows that this is the reason why he's been on his more heroic kick lately, so the question becomes, what does that mean for Doom going forward?
And they're really rubbing in the fact that our real Reed and Susan are dead, but they confirmed they're not. Yeah, exactly. So they keep repeating this over and over, but we don't really know.
I'm sure that it's just because Reed is the Beyonder. He's making it so they can't find him in any of their universal tests.
Exactly.
So,
nice.
And this issue does also see the return of the Council of Reeds, that classic Jonathan Hickman concept that was so memorably ripped off for Rick and Morty.
Right, exactly.
Just wonderful.
What are you talking about? They're ripping off Rick and Morty.
They killed the old one, and now they're back, and now it's the good, more benevolent Council of Reeds. So.
Yes, until it's not again.
Right, well. Alright, so Thrawn issue 5 of 6 came out, and I cannot tell you how disappointed I am that not only is this guy on the cover not Dash Rendar,
Right.
But it's just a random dude who showed up in an earlier issue, and Thrawn is the one driving the Outrider.
Yeah.
So all of those hopes were dashed, unfortunately. But that said, I thought this was a decent issue.
Yeah, it's continuously funny to me. I haven't seen a new Star Wars movie in a couple of years now, but this is just so readable.
Now, here's what I've discovered since the last issue came out about this series, is that this series is actually a direct adaptation of the novel Thrawn that came out, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago in book form, written by Timothy Zahn, the original creator of Thrawn and writer of those books. And so Jodie Houser's done a good job, but we've been giving her all this credit for writing such an in-character Thrawn, and it turns out that she's actually just directly adapting all the things from Timothy Zahn's book.
Right. Wow.
So
Must
she's
be
not
one hell of a book.
she's not fucked it up. So I won't retract anything I've said, but we got to give some of the credit to Zahn for actually coming up with the good Thrawnness of it all.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, really, is the good Thrawnness that you get here.
Yeah, if you like the character, this is a readable book. There's nothing like super amazing about it that makes it stand out. Like you wouldn't hand it to a regular reader and say like, "This is a really good comic. Read this." But like,
Right, it's not the one.
yeah, it's nice candy for Star Trek fans that doesn't like crap on what's come before in the way that so much of modern Star Wars stuff does.
Yeah, I did like in this one that we got the Imperial insignia being used as a button.
Right, make that shit useful.
Right. It made me think, oh yeah, that would make total sense. You know, the more
Like a Star Trek
the
movie,
higher
right?
up you are of a command position, the more buttons you got to call to different
Oh my
divisions.
god.
divisions.
Oh,
It's
geez.
just a genius sci-fi thing.
Wow, you took it even farther than I was thinking, where they just have one button.
You have like the 30 quick dial tabs on your shoulder.
You have the extensions of more higher level people. Like each one calls, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like when you're one of those like ensign level guys where you only have like the 2 pips, like all that does is call your direct supervisor.
Right. You call your commanding officer.
Right, and the other one pages your buddies.
Oh,
Yes.
All right, so moving on to one of the new first issues of the week, The Magic Order by Mark Miller and Olivier Qapla, which is definitely also being simultaneously developed as a show for Netflix. This is confirmed. This isn't just us joking around like with the Robert Kirkman one.
That's interesting.
It
I can see
seems
that.
like a Netflixy show.
Doesn't it, though? Like, this is the pilot episode of a 10-episode series, right?
Completely. Where at the end of it, you're not sure who any of the characters really are yet, but you are mildly intrigued by what they have done.
Yeah,
Right.
you kind of have an idea of, good and bad and, like, maybe bad and bad.
Right.
And some more neat tricks.
We have our guy who's almost certainly going to be our main character, the guy who got out of the Magic Order and doesn't want to come back in, and he's trying to live a normal life because he lost his daughter to magic somehow.
Yeah.
So I predict that this is this is going to be our character more than anybody else. Maybe that girl who tricks her way out of the cop car will also. I doubt that they'll make her bad in any way because she's too much the modern, too cool girl.
Yep.
So they have that. They introduce what you need to know about some characters, and then they end the episode with the what the fuck moment of the room replacement magic spell.
I really like the room replacement
It's great.
magic spell.
How does he get out of this? Like, he doesn't, right?
There have been several things marketed as Harry Potter for adults in the past. This is the closest thing that I've ever felt to being a Harry Potter for adults.
That's interesting. I didn't think of that, but yeah.
Well-
And definitely better than the Magicians.
yeah, that's definitely true.
Like, this feels very much like it could take... Like, all those spells that we actually see, like, all those would fold right into the kind of spells you see in
Oh, definitely.
Harry Potter.
No.
And you gotta say, Olivier Qaple's art is quite good. Love that guy on anything he draws.
Oh, yeah, I mean, just being able to draw that room closing in like that is amazing.
Oh, man.
And everybody has a unique face,
Oh, yeah.
which when you have a
This
very...
is a must.
Right, and when you have a very comic booky style that isn't overly realistic, I feel like that can sometimes be tough to do, but everybody has a lot of character, and definitely looking forward to... I think we'll be picking up more issues of that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a buy.
Yep.
Alright, guys. I can't tell you how excited I am that you both now have also read a comic by Michelle Pfeiffer, or Fife. I think it might be Fife. Yeah, this dude does everything on all of his comics. He has previously done this excellent independent series called Qapla, where he did literally everything, including printing and shipping every issue that went out personally.
Wow.
Like, he didn't release it with anybody. It was like you had to get in touch with him on his website to get the new issue of Qapla, which was basically Suicide Squad with their like names all changed. So it was like Deadshot was the main character, and like you could draw lines, but it's good. So now he's taking over one of Rob Liefeld's old Image Comics franchises, Bloodstrike, right down to advertising as if it's the latest issue of Bloodstrike, because in the back there's all the stuff that says, like, this is Bloodstrike issue 22 or whatever. Like, picking up right after the last issue of Bloodstrike.
Right off the bat, this is a classic comic. Like, it feels so classic, but doesn't feel old.
Right.
It's great.
Yeah, the art style is like exactly. It's like classic but modern.
Yep.
Right. A lot of use of pastel colors.
Right, good pastel colors. The dialogue is very like in your face, and like the characters don't talk realistically. They talk in over the top comic book fashion, where they give you all the information you need.
Oh yeah.
None of the writing is perfect because it looks like it's all written by hand.
Yeah, he is definitely hand lettering everything himself. That's a big part of it.
Yep.
And we get into this is a 0 issue. This is actually the prequel to the main series, so that's why it's sort of introduction to all of these characters.
Right.
Yeah, so that the issue kind of focuses on what's this guy's name?
Subject 10?
Subject 10, Deadlock. Deadlock, who famously has the same mask as Wolverine,
Yes, he does.
but is a vampire instead.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, it's so weird.
It's just great. Like, if you've never read a comic by Michelle, I can't recommend it highly enough, because the dude just loves comics.
See, this is a comic where it gets really weird, but everything still makes sense.
See, like, I don't understand. We have the extreme checklist in the back.
Yeah.
I haven't seen these books announced. Like, it's announcing, like, all these books. Like, there's this whole run of comics coming. I don't know if this is actually all books that are going to happen, or if they're going to be just backup in
pulling
these
a
comics.
joke because of what's at the end and the back page.
Right, because then we have a Ed Piskor advertisement for a Dutch solo adventure, and Ed Piskor's another one of these guys who, like, does everything himself.
Right.
We've got this, which is by Ben Mara, who specifically draws in a very old school cartoony style. And then even the back cover is one of the issues.
I love that. The
yeah.
fact that the back cover is an actual comic, and I read it like 20 times to figure out if it was an ad, and I'm like, this really isn't an ad.
There's a lot of value in this comic, and don't worry, guys, I already let the guy at the store know that we want every issue of Bloodstrike Brutalists.
Fantastic.
Because, yes, please.
Yeah.
Action comics. This is the kind of comics that Diversity in Comics is trying to do.
And that's
in Jawbreakers is Bloodstrike.
And that's what I want.
So
Like, that's what all the comic book fans want, isn't it?
Action comics.
Yeah.
Speaking of action comics, our last review. Man of Steel. Issue 3 by Michael Bendis. Ryan Sook on pencils. I actually like him.
Yeah.
The book looks fantastic.
Yeah, it does.
If you haven't guessed by now on the podcast, we're a spoiler-heavy podcast, but I gotta say, guys, I feel like the murder of Kandor is one of those, like, cheap shot, low blow, shortcut type dealies that's like, look how dark and, like, badass we're gonna be. Like,
Oh, it is.
Well, Kandor's been around for so long that just to do that to it.
Yeah, to knock over the fishbowl, essentially.
And while that's all happening, hearing all of Superman's thoughts actually took me out of the disaster, because I'm like, oh, he is just so calm and relaxed.
How much better would this page have been with none of these boxes on it?
Exactly.
Just the art showing his reactions.
That's really interesting.
That's Bendis-ness. Bendis has Logoria, diarrhea of the mouth.
Yeah.
Like, he's got a... Just let Ryan Sook do it. Like, he's going to pull it off. There's a couple of things I do like in this issue, primarily the scene where Batman shows up and he describes his bit where he says, if the politest man in the galaxy has somewhere to be so fast he can't say goodbye, there's a good reason. Is like that's a perfect thing to say about Superman.
Right, but it's... But being there, it just feels like it's saving... the fact that when Batman shows up and they're talking about him, he goes, I am Batman.
And then immediately he brags about how good he is. And I'm like, that kind of feels weird.
Yeah,
He's bragging like a 14-year-old.
Yeah, the way he talks to the fire chief is weird. It's like he met this chick, and 30 seconds later is like, you will be my new Robin. Here's how you investigate a crime.
We don't need that Batman.
So yeah, mixed reactions on Batman. We're 3 issues in, or 3.5 issues in, I'll say, if you include the couple of pages in the DC Nation one shot that we saw.
Sure, why not?
And we're still being just told over and over again how badass Rogolzar is, without ever being shown.
He's more, at this point, just kind of a huge dick.
Huge asshole.
Nope.
Just like the biggest dick. Now, Rogolzar to me is, he's Lobo. He's Lobo, but without being funny or memorable.
Lobo is so cool, I can't even make the comparison in my head.
It's like somebody said, like, Lobo should also be Doomsday. But we're like, he should have Doomsday's personality too, though. And, God, Bendis, please. Like, there is good stuff in here. The characterizations are good. No. The plot is, please help me move forward, please. The Lois and John teasing.
I would be okay with everything if they would just get rid of so many thought bubbles. That's it. Like, I could enjoy this comic so much more without them. And actually, for a little while, I was reading through it without reading the thought bubbles, and I would just go back and read the thought bubbles, see if I missed anything, and I was enjing it more while doing that.
That's interesting.
Because Ryan Sook is one of the best visual storytellers in comics. He drew most of that unexpected. Expected. Dude knows how to draw a page.
Yeah.
But, it's... it's kind of cool that Supergirl shows up. I like that Bendis is just fully willing to exploit the roster. Like,
that's a good thing.
But we should know by now what's up with Lois and John. Like, unless this revelation... Every issue that goes by without this being revealed means that revelation has to be all the more amazing.
It's not going to be.
Oh.
It's going to be super tame.
The man's like, no, they're somewhere else.
Right, yeah, no. So, like, I guess they're taken somewhere maybe for their own safety. Like, that's what's starting to imply.
Yeah, but, I mean, just tell... What's with all the secrecy?
That's not a good way of telling your story. Not unexpected. The Immortal Men is doing it too.
That's exactly what the Immortal Men is doing. It's just making everything into a mystery with zero payoff.
Right, but just making the mystery, like, we haven't told you yet. Not like, here's a clue that will entice you.
Oh, yeah, no clues.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Yep, indeed.
Wow, I'm exhausted, guys.
Now, this has been quite the episode, and frankly, I think we need to wrap it up.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so, listeners, we really appreciate you stopping by to listen, but we'd also really appreciate a follow on Twitter. You can follow us at _lag. That's lag with 2 A's, of course, LAAG. You can also send us an email at lagentertainment@gmail.com with whatever you'd like to say. If you'd like us to answer a question on air, if you'd like us to send you an email back, whatever, send us an email. I check that email all the time, I promise. You can listen to us on Libsyn or YouTube. At Libsyn, we're lagentertainment.libsyn.com. On YouTube, you can just search the LAAGCast. You can also find us on other podcasting services. And we appreciate you stopping by so much to listen, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, folks.
Bye. 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 Bye.